Okay, what's up, everyone? Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts. Welcome to another one of my earnings streams. Do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Today we have Costco and Dell reporting, so pretty interested to seeing what their reactions to the earnings data is going to be. And also just a reminder, less than 2 weeks, I'll be in Chicago for the next in-person event we're doing. This is the second annual Traders Paradise, June 9th through the 12th. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the stream. Let's go to the sticks here. So we got Dell reporting. We got Costco reporting. Now, let me kind of zoom into the 5-minute chart. Dell, to my understanding, isn't supposed to report until 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Kind of getting a little bit of buying pressure right now. Let me go over here to Dell. Okay, yeah, so Dell is supposed to report at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Their forecast EPS is $1.69, and their forecast revenue is $23.10 billion. They were trading pretty well above their anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP's around, probably call that like 95, low 90s. We're getting a little bit of buying pressure right now. I don't think the data's out yet. Let me check. There are some people buying Dell right now. Costco doesn't report until 4:15 p.m. Eastern, so we got a little bit of time before they report. Let me just go over here to my other screen and see if the Dell data's out, because definitely some volatility going on with it right now. Give me 1 second, I'll check for everybody. As soon as the EPS and revenue comes out and any guidance, I'll post that on my screen on YouTube. All right, let's check Dell, because they just kind of wicked up. They closed the regular session at $113.58 a share. They just wicked up to like 114.60-ish. Then they came right back down. So maybe it's just some pre-earnings jitters or something. It's 4:02 p.m. Eastern. Let me see. Okay. Shy on Twitter says NVIDIA and Dell to supply the new Dodna supercomputer to the Dow. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't think Dell's data is out yet. So the implied move for Dell is almost 8%, like 7.7%. Looks like an $8.75 move, something like that. The previous reactions to the previous earnings that Dell has had, they're coming off 2 back-to-back negative reactions. Previous earnings, they were down 4.7%. The time before that, they were down 12%. 3 earnings ago, they were a little green, up 4%. So coming off 2 back-to-back negative reactions. Okay, let me check something else out here. Okay. Yeah, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Dell and Ulta. Ulta is also reporting too. Path is also reporting at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Costco is at 4:15. Gap is at 4:20 p.m. Eastern. So I just thought everyone should know that. Duco says your ears. Maybe you can click on my picture and turn the volume down or something. Good old Discord, right? All right, let me check some other things real quick. We got about 45 more seconds. Blue Brain, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you, man. Okay, still waiting on the data. This morning, $100,000 order for the 124 calls expiring tomorrow. Ooh. Looking like they're getting a positive reaction. It's got about 20 seconds left before the data technically drops. Today we're covering Dell's earnings and Costco earnings. And there was a few others reporting too that we can probably look at. specifically Marvel and UiPath and Gap are the other ones. Okay, Dell's getting a nice solid reaction here. The data should have dropped. Let me refresh my other screen. But yeah, someone knew something. It's $100,000 worth of 124 calls with tomorrow's expiration that were purchased before the closing bell. Looking like those are going to be okay. Okay, had a positive reaction. Almost went up to 125. Again, they closed the regular session 113.58. Kind of flat on the day, a little bit red. It's sitting here in after hours, up over 8%, up about 8%, $9 a share. Okay, as soon as I got EPS and revenue, I will share that with everybody. I'll go to Dell's investor relation page real quick. Nice positive reaction. This thing's up over $11 a share right now. Okay. Okay, so yeah, on their investor relations, I'm just seeing. Okay, yeah, I see it right here. May 29th. Okay, they're sitting right around 124 share. Okay, got a nice graphic from the earnings correspondent here. I'll share with everyone. Still waiting on Costco, about another 10 minutes on Costco. But for Dell, their EPS, again, the forecast was $1.69. They just reported $1.55, so they did miss EPS by 8%. Didn't really miss by a lot. Revenue forecast was 23.19 billion. They just reported 23.37 billion, so they beat revenue by a little bit as well. I think revenue is probably a little more important. EPS, even though they missed the EPS forecast, it was up 22% year over year. Double-digit growth on the EPS, so that's good. Revenue up 5% year over year. Let me move this over to the side real quick. Okay, got about, I'd say about 8 more minutes, and we'll get Costco's data. Go over here to Webull just for a second. Sushi on YouTube asks, how are the earnings for Dell? What really made them jump? I'm assuming it's something guidance related. As soon as I get it, I'll let everyone know. But let me look at a couple other things because they did miss the EPS. The year over year for EPS was good. They did get a revenue beat, so that's good. Let's say they reported 12.1 billion in AI server orders amid surging demand. So it's looking like they probably increased guidance a little bit because of the surging demand. Sushi on YouTube. Hope that helps a little bit. I'm still scouring for more info. Let's take a look at this. Yes, okay. So Sushi on YouTube, I got it right here. The guidance, okay. The remainder of Q2 guidance was increased to 28 to 29 billion. The estimate was only 25 billion. So they increased guidance for the remainder of Q2 revenue by like 3 or 4 billion. So it's a pretty solid increase in guidance. And let's take a look at their adjusted EPS also for the remainder of Q2 of this year. For the guidance, they just reported 2.25 for the adjusted EPS for the remainder of Q2. The estimate for that was only $2.09. So they increased the guidance on the EPS, increased the guidance on the revenue, and that's amid surging demand. So yeah, that is good. Looks like they're pulling back a little bit right now after wicking up to almost 126. So they're taking a little bit of a breather, but initial positive reaction, due to increasing of the guidance. And also, now that's just the remainder of Q2 guidance. For the remainder of fiscal year of this year, they also increased the guidance. So on the annual basis for the rest of this year, they reported a guidance of EPS at $9.40, and the estimate was $9.20. So they increased the fiscal year guidance for EPS and the Q2 guidance for EPS. And then the fiscal year revenue, they have the high end of the range is 105 billion. The estimate was 102.8 billion. So they increased guidance all, for the remainder of Q2 for EPS and revenue, and for the remainder of the year for EPS and revenue. They say they're experiencing unprecedented demand for their AI optimized servers. They generated a little over $12 billion in AI orders in this quarter alone for what they reported for Q1. So that's really good. Okay, so Dell's got some great data. They are getting a positive reaction. Again, they have pulled back a little bit. That's okay. I mean, it wicked up pretty extreme here, almost to 126. They're sitting at 118.55, still up $5 a share in after hours. Let's see if they're gearing up or winding up for another move up. I guess I can go to 1 minute chart since, I normally don't look at 1 minute too often, but, the earnings data was just released, so I'll look at it here. Costco reports in 4 minutes. I hate to make a prediction for something like Costco because, the theme we've been seeing lately is sometimes these companies are withholding their guidance because the tariff uncertainty is still kind of there, even though there's been some optimism about the tariff uncertainty lately, a little back and forth with Trump and things like that. But, it's $1,000 stock. So I wouldn't be surprised if Costco does a forward split sometime soon. Try and get their per share value more affordable for investors. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit. I agree with that, Sushi on YouTube. It's a domestic company. It's going to be a bit strange how they're going to try and navigate everything. We're gonna see here though. It's 4:13 p.m. Eastern, so we got about 2 more minutes. And I just want to take a look at Costco real quick. So their forecast for EPS $4.25. Forecast revenue is 63.14 billion. They were trading pretty well above their anchored VWAP as well. Their anchored VWAP's probably around 960 a share, around there. And they closed the regular session at $1,008.74 a share, down 0.4%, but it's $1,000 stock. So, but yeah, you can see most of that selling was pre-market. But compared to where it closed yesterday, it's just down a little bit, really. Okay, so Dell looking like it's trying to print a higher low here, doesn't it? So support level number 1, about 116.50. Probably be my S1 there. Let's see if that holds and it forms a higher low. I'll throw a fib on this real quick. Just want to see where. Okay, so it did retrace a bit. Let me let's do this. I'll put it right at this candle right here. So bounced perfectly right off the 78% retrace. That was around 116.50 a share. That's probably where I'd be looking for support if it does decide to maybe come back down. Maybe we'll get a little bouncer here, a little double bouncer here off 116.40 to 116.50, kind of like a 10-cent range there. We're around there. See these little bottom wicks on these candles, but we definitely, for the bulls, for Dell, 116.50 S1 for sure. If that doesn't hold, it's obviously going to come back down to where rally, the little pump started, right? So looks like it's holding up though. It's working on a second. Well, now it's working on a third green 5-minute candle print. Let's see how these next couple candles print. Maybe go from there. But this looks like it could be a solid higher low here, which is good for the bulls. So took a bit of a breather, maybe some profit taking or something like that. But let me post Dell's earnings results on the bottom of my screen on YouTube. Let's see if I can get the EPS and revenue all into one post here. 52% of revenue. Yeah, this will be good here. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that on the bottom of my screen. So we kind of already just went over this, but they beat revenue. They did miss EPS, but they made over $12 billion in AI server sales, and they increased guidance for EPS and revenue for the remainder of Q2 and the remainder of the fiscal year. So I think that's one of the main reasons why this initial positive reaction. Of course, the increase of the guidance, and then over $12 billion in AI server sales last quarter. So that's pretty good. So again, just keep your eye on it, looking for this higher low to kind of validate here, and maybe it starts trending back up, sitting just above the golden ratio around 118.50. So we'll see how there's about 15 seconds left on the current candle print. So S1 probably 118.50. That's the golden ratio. It's trading above there right now. And then S2 is going to be that 116.50. So good stuff there. It's 4:17 p.m. Eastern. So Costco's, I'll keep Dell over here on the left. We'll see if that higher low prints, it is validated here and it keeps going. Or is this going to turn into some crazy bearish H pattern that we trade sometimes, right? We'll see. Costco's data should be out. Kind of wicked up, and then it kind of wicked down and wicked up, and then now it's just kind of sitting right here, kind of basically right where it closed at. Sitting here flat in after hours. Let me go 1 minute chart on here just so I can see. Okay. We go back here. So Costco just reported an EPS of 4.28. Again, the forecast was 4.23, so slight beat. Yes, especially on YouTube, I did hear from someone I work with that Dell and the whole Dell and NVIDIA thing, I think, got worked out, to my understanding. I'll double check that though. Costco just reported earnings, and their EPS, they beat by a little bit. The revenue came in at 63.2 billion. The forecast was 63.1 billion, so they double beat on Costco. Let me check one more thing real quick. Okay, no, the NVIDIA and Dell news that I saw was about them supplying the new Dodna supercomputer to the Doe. So I don't think that had, I didn't read anything about the shipping issue yet, but if I see something, I'll let you know. Costco getting a positive reaction. Let's see if it holds up. It's up, it's up to almost $10 a share. Kind of funky price action. Y'all see that kind of just gap up there on the 1 minute. That was weird. Let's make sure this is the right reaction. Sometimes it can be all over the place in the beginning. So Costco also raised their outlook with 8% sales growth and strong profit gains in for the remainder of fiscal year 2025 for Q3. So Costco raised guidance as well. They're getting a positive reaction. Dell kind of took a breather and traded a little sideways for a little bit. Again, I think the main level here is going to be the 116.50, but it's trading above the golden ratio, 118.50. Let's see if this holds and it can kind of pop back up to the after hours high. We'll see. Back to Costco, positive reaction. They're up 1.5%, over $16 a share. almost $17 a share in the green here in after hours. Let me put Costco's results here on YouTube. Thank you, Mad Maverick, for helping me out with that. I'll post EPS revenue first. I don't know if I can fit all this on one line. Okay, there's the Costco data on the bottom of my screen. And again, Costco did raise their outlook, so both companies raised guidance. Both companies' initial positive reaction. So it's looking like a congrats to the Dell and the Costco bulls. Okay, so we got EPS revenue and guidance for both companies. We got the reactions. Kind of looked like Costco trading on a little bit of low volume. Dell had 10 times more volume than them today. Dell had 11.5 million volume today so far. Costco only had just under 2 million. Not a lot of volume on Costco. That's why the candles are looking a little funky, you know, little gaps and it's like little doji looking things every now and then, but before the earnings catalyst. Kind of spotty price action during the day, lots of little gaps and stuff. That's just trading on low volume. It's $1,000 stock, you know. Okay, let's see here. So Costco kind of doing what Dell did. It's initial positive reaction, and then it kind of pulls back a little bit. But the candle prints on Costco, it's going to be spotty because the volume's low. That's just what it is for now. Let me see where they're at. I'm going to put it right here. I'll go the other way with it. Okay. Yeah, so they kind of doing the same thing that Dell did. It kind of retraced to the 78% retrace. I mean, geez, that's almost a full retracement. Not quite a full retracement though. So Dell retraced to 78%. Now it's starting to kind of trade sideways a bit. Maybe winding up for another leg up. Costco kind of did the same thing. Nice positive reaction, up almost $20 a share on that initial reaction. Then it pulls back to 78% retrace and it's just sitting here now. So let's see if Costco ends up doing something like what Dell did, where use this 78% retrace as some sort of support. Maybe it starts trading sideways because Costco's results are good, and Dell's results are good as well. Just very, very kind of spotty, ugly price action because it's trading on low volume right now. Okay, Costco's at 100% retrace now from that initial reaction. So is this in fact going the other way? Bottom of this wick right before the data was right around $1,005 a share. So that's going to be my S1. Okay, Sushi. LiDAR stocks. Haven't really traded that one. I am doing a wheel strategy on Ford though. I am trading that industry, that sector, if you will. Most recently did a dividend capture strategy on Ford. Their ex-div date was just a few weeks ago on May 12th. So before May 12th, I bought some shares, and then I sold some covered calls against my shares with the expiration date of my covered calls expiring after the ex-div date to ensure I was owner of record on May 12th. And then my shares ended up getting called away at my expiration date. So I made the appreciation on the shares from my average of my shares to the strike on my covered call. I made some profit that way. I also made some profit with the premium I collected when I wrote the covered calls. And then I'm going to get a third stream of income when I get the dividend. They're paying the dividend on June 2nd. So that was like a triple income trade I did recently on Ford, which obviously is in the automotive industry. But yeah, no, I'll make a note of that LiDAR stock, and I'll take a look at it after the stream and let you know on my next earnings stream what I think about it. But I do trade the auto industry. Secret income methods. Yeah, I mean, I'm more of I like writing contracts. I don't really trade naked options too much. I scalp. I have fun scalping, get in and out like a ninja, right? But my bread and butter is writing contracts. I've been doing that for years, and I target weekly and monthly income by selling to open options. Is my main go-to trades. So we got our reactions. Dell, again, initial positive reaction. They increased their guidance. They did retrace 78%, and they kind of bounced using that 78%, right around 116.50 a share. Now they're trading sideways, so this could be some sort of accumulation phase, consolidation phase, maybe gearing up, taking a little breather, gearing up for a possible run at after hours high, which would put it back into the 120s, of course. S1, golden ratio 118.50. S2 is going to be that 78% where it bounced after it initially pulled back. So that's 116.50 for S2. Costco, they had a nice positive reaction. They retraced 100%, and they kind of double bottomed from when they, well, I don't want to speak too soon because it's struggling with that level right now, but support level 1,005 bucks. It's the bottom of that wick right there before it rallied. But Costco had good data and they increased guidance. So overall, good data by both companies. Just kind of got some sloppy price action, especially on Costco because of the low volume. But overall, I think it's good data that they released. It's almost 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's a good idea. Let me share some of the open trades I have right now. I share my Fidelity account with all the members in the Discord. They know how much money I got in the account. They know the trades that I have open, and I have streams with them several times a week, and I update them on what's going on. This account has almost 29K in it. Started this account with right around 24. Well, it's a little over 25 actually. Not too long ago, a few months ago. And my goal is to get this above 30,000 in the next few weeks. We'll see. It's been going really good though. Just to give you an idea of the types of trades I do. Let me see if I can zoom in on this so maybe people can see it easier. So here's some of my open positions. I do also have a Schwab account, and I do a bunch of spreads and stuff on my Schwab account. But I trade with Fidelity a lot. I get some really good favorable fills on Fidelity. Of course, they're a more reputable broker, and I just get favorable fills. That's why I like trading with them. I'll just kind of go over a few positions that I have open right now. One of them is I'm on the covered call side on AEHR. They're a semiconductor company. And I got 200 shares of them. Cost basis $9.29. AEHR is trading just below 10 as of the regular session. Yeah, AEHR is the test systems. You're exactly right. I like the company, so I decided to run kind of a wheel on them. And right now I'm on the covered call side. My shares are nice and profitable. I do have 2 covered calls deployed. I'm a little red on those covered calls right now, but I'm never really going to realize that red on the covered calls because, for instance, if AEHR is above $10 by June 20th, then my shares will just get called away at $10. My average is only 9.29, so it'll be a profitable trade no matter what. And then also, you can see here I got $29 a contract. For these $10 calls. So my cost basis is actually only $9, right? So if my shares get called away at 10, I'm perfectly okay with that. I was okay with that when I opened the $10 calls. And that's the thing with selling covered calls. I get that a lot. People, they open covered calls and then they decide that they want to keep the shares. But the thing with the covered call game, you got to be okay with your shares getting called away at that strike. before you enter the trade. Okay, you shouldn't be going back and forth with yourself mentally after the fact. And I just trade mechanically that way. It saves me a lot of stress, and there's not a lot of second guessing. When I wrote these contracts, I was okay with them getting called away at 10. If they happen to be over, if AEHR is over 10 by my expiration and they get called away, I'm not going to bitch about it because it's going to be a profitable trade, right? So it's fine. And then I'll re-enter with some cash secured puts on a pullback or something, if I still want to do it, if I still want to trade them. So that's one trade I got open right now. The next trade I have open is I sold $4.50 cash secured puts on JetBlue. I did 10 lot size. You can see here I collected $22 a contract. And that, in essence, gave me $223.21 in premium, which is what I consider my income, right? So as long as JetBlue is above 450 by June 20th, that'll just be money in my pocket, easy money, really. Then, of course, if JetBlue makes a nice move to the upside and I get like 75% or more of this premium on the table, right now I got $53 available. You can see right there. So I'm up a little over 23% on these cash secured puts, but I like to target at least 75% or more. So, June 20th, what's that, about 3 weeks from now? So the way I look at it is I got 3 weeks left until expiration. If within the next week I end up, and JetBlue makes a nice move up, because these are cash secured puts, even though it's a put, this is a bullish trade because I'm technically short the put. So this is bullish. Right, for those that didn't know. So my point is, if I can get like 75% of that premium that I collected on onset of the trade, if I can capture that and there's still a few weeks left, I'm going to take the early profit. If I can get 75% of my money in 1 week or less, why would I wait the remaining 2 weeks for the other 25%? It just doesn't mathematically and make sense for me to wait 2 whole more weeks for the other little 25% when I can go ahead and bag that up, most of it, 75%, put that right in my pocket, and then move on to the next trade, right? So that's another one I got going now. I do have a hedge trade in place. This is the 2 SPY legs you can see here. This is actually one trade that has 2 legs on it. This was SPY put debit spread, okay? I bought to open the 590 puts. I sold to open the 589 puts, forming a $1 wide spread. They both have the same expiration date. It's good until June 6th. So not this Friday, but it's good till next Friday. So this just gives me a little bit of downside protection, if SPY wants to sell off a little bit, or if SPY is below 589 by next Friday, I'm going to make some really good money on this. I did 3 lot size on this trade. And I'll show you now the SPY put debit spread. You pay a debit to open it. You can see my cost basis here, right? So we'll take both the each leg. So I'm going to minus the 590 minus 548. Okay. So I paid $42 for each lot size. I got 3 lot size, right? But even if you only did 1 lot size, I paid $42 for it. It's a $1 wide spread. So what's that tell you? Well, the value of that spread is $100, isn't it? And if I only paid $42 for it, you can take 100 minus 42. That means I have a potential profit on these spreads of $58 per spread. Plus I get my $42 back. So you get your original $42 risk, you get that back, and then you get another $58 on top of that. So, just do the math on that. $58 profit divided by a $42 risk. This is almost 140% return on risk. So when I put hedges in place, I do target triple-digit returns on these, because you got to think about it when you're trying to hedge, right? Let's say you got, and I'll just use some simple numbers so everyone can understand on how the method of my hedging. If I'm long on some stocks, right, and I'm long, and I'm expected to make $500 on my long positions. Well, when I go to put a hedge in place, what I'm doing is buying insurance, right? And you don't want to overpay for your insurance. So what I did with these SPY put debit spreads is I spent a little over $100 to put these in place. So I'm kind of sacrificing a small percentage of what I'm expected to make on my longs, right? So just pulling numbers out of the air. If I'm expected to make 500 in profit on my longs, I'll sacrifice $100 of that to trade the opposite direction. But the type of trade that I use for my hedge is going to have a really good risk reward. And in this situation, I'm only risking $42 to make $58, and plus I get my 42 back, right? So my hedges, I always want a triple-digit return on those, because if the markets do see a little bit of drawdown and they pull back a little bit, well, instead of sitting on the sideline and doing nothing, I'm going to be making money. Okay, so that's why I put that into place. Because of course, SPY's been having a pretty good last few days. I mean, you just pull up the SPY chart here, and SPY's been doing pretty good. I just kind of feel like it may be a little frothy right now, maybe a little overextended a bit. That's why I put that hedge trade in place. All right. So if S&P wants to pull back a little bit, I'm going to make sure I'm making money on it instead of just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. And so that's a hedge trade I have in place right now, which of course I alert all these to my Discord group. The next trade is a very interesting trade. I won't go too deep into this on what it is, but this is basically, this is the AT&T trade. If you're looking at my screen, I got 4 lot size trade on this. This is a diagonal calendar spread, a little more advanced, right? But this is what I teach in the Discord, the more advanced stuff, right? Not just your naked options. Buy a call, I want it to go up. Buy a put, I want the underlying stock to go down. That's basically basic options trading. I take it many steps further. My option trades are usually multi-leg. This particular trade is basically a diagonal calendar spread. And what I did was I went to September's expiration and I bought some $24 strike price puts, about 4 of them. And now I'm selling weekly cash secured puts to target weekly income. And I'm using my September puts as collateral, which greatly reduces my buying power for my weekly cash secured puts, doesn't it? So I'm targeting, this week I targeted the $27 put. So if I was to sell that $27 cash secured put by itself, you'd need $2,700 for that trade, just for one lot size, because it's a $27 strike. And when we're writing contracts, it's a strike price times 100 for allocation needed, right? The way I got around from needing $2,700 to sell that weekly puts, opened up a longer dated $24 strike price put, which caps, it basically formed a $3 wide spread. So now instead of needing $2,700 for a regular cash secured put, now I only need $300. Do you see how that dramatically reduced my buying power needed? So when I target my weekly cash secured puts for my weekly income, I don't need $2,700. I only need $300. That's because I'm using this $24 put, September dated put, as collateral. Of course, you would need a margin account to be able to do this, to get the massive buying power reduction needed for the weekly trades. So, I'm an open book when I do my trades. I show everyone my account. There's no mysteries. I'm not hiding anything. Everything I alert, I'm trading it right along with everyone. I got skin in the game. And this is what I do in the Discord. So just figured today I could maybe just share my Fidelity account and just kind of let y'all know the types of trades that I do. And I love it. I have a lot of fun with it. So 4:40 p.m. Eastern. Let me go back to the sticks just real quick. I kind of ran out of time, y'all. I'm spent a little more time than I thought, but that's okay. Let me go back to Dell, see how they're holding up. Yep, Dell's still kind of holding up. I think there's enough candle prints now. I can probably bump it up to the 3-minute. I could cut out some of the 1-minute noise, you know. So yeah, basically still trading sideways. So S1 on Dell, that golden ratio, I'd like to see it stay above 118.50. S2 is where it initially bounced from the initial, when it was taking a little breather initially. S2's at 116.50. Easy levels for the bulls there to keep in mind. Costco, just as I thought, just really sloppy price action trading on low volume. But overall, their data was good. So it's, you know, the Costco bulls, I wouldn't worry. Costco is a very strong company, very profitable company. Going into the earnings, they had a PE of 55. Nice and positive EPS at 17, even pay a little dividend, 0.5%. But you know, everyone knows about Costco. They got tons. I believe they have a huge cash balance. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, I mean, you know, they make 1.5 to 2.4 billion a quarter. It's kind of their positive net income range. Super strong company financially. Debt to assets only 65% and trending down. And yeah, just as I thought, cash and equivalents over $13 billion. And it might even be more now because that's as of February of this year. So they probably even got more than that now. Go back to TradingView just for a second. Any views on UiPath earnings? Yeah, we can take a look. Ticker symbol PATH, I believe. Yep. Let's take a look here. Yeah, they just had earnings. Wow, and they got a positive reaction here too. Let me see what their data was. We'll go over that real quick. I'm interested to see what their results were as well. Okay, they double beat. It looks like they beat revenue pretty good too. EPS more in line, but they beat by a little bit. I'll share this on YouTube too so everyone can see that. There we go. Here, I'll put that on the bottom of my screen. Okay, a couple notes from the CEO of Path. I'm pleased with our first quarter results, highlighted by ARR of, and that's annualized recurring revenue of 1.69 billion, up 12% year over year. So nice double-digit growth on Path for their revenue line item. And that's a reflection of our improved execution and the meaningful return on investment our customers are realizing through our automation platform. That was said by Daniel Dimes. That's the founder and the CEO. And he says this was a milestone quarter for UiPath, marked by the launch of our agentic automation platform, a meaningful step forward in our product evolution. We're encouraged by the early response from customers, partners, and the broader ecosystem, which underscores the growing interest in agentic automation as a key part of the enterprise automation journey. As we continue to bring this next generation of capability to market, we remain confident in our strategy, our differentiation, and the opportunity ahead. Let me look at a few other things here. Net cash flow from operations, 119 million. Cash and equivalents in marketable securities, 1.5 billion as of April 30th. So they got a pretty sweet cash position too. And again, the revenue, not that we went over the annualized numbers, but the for the first quarter, 357 million revenue, which that's increased 6% year over year. And again, we went over the ARR already. That was up 12% year over year. And let me see, dollar-based net retention rate 108%. That's pretty good. Gross margin 82%. Good data. Good data. And they beat EPS by 10%. The percentage number is high, but the forecast was 0.10. They reported 0.11. Positive number nonetheless. I think the beat on revenue was probably more highlighted than the EPS beat. They beat revenue by 24 million. So pretty good. Also wanted to let everyone know on Path for the they did raise guidance. I think Blue Brain was asking that. They raised guidance. It came in at 350 million. The estimate was only 330 million, 331 million. About 20 million increase on the that's the remainder of Q2 revenue guidance. So the increased guidance, beautiful. Fiscal year guidance, they raised that as well. That came in right around 1.55 billion, and the estimate was only 1.52 billion. So they raised Q2 guidance and fiscal year guidance. Blue Brain. So nice and positive. I like the data. I really do. Nice strong cash position as well. Just about 1.6 billion. So yeah, good stuff. It's a solid company. I think they got a lot of room to go to the upside. Let's take a look at the weekly chart just real quick. Oh yeah. I mean, shoot, let me make sure. I'm gonna pull this up on Webull just real quick. I like to see. Let me just look at a few things here. It just looked like they got hammered to hell from like after they IPO'd in 2021. I mean, they were trading in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they just couldn't catch a break until 2022. Almost 1 year later, it took one whole year after their IPO for them to get out of this downtrend. Kind of more range bound after that. They were at $10.40 in 2022. That was the end of 2022. Kind of some wild price action in between. You got this pretty significant gap that still hasn't been resolved. That puts Path at $18 once that gets filled. They're obviously getting a positive reaction now, and they're up trading just above $14. So if they're trading at $14.39, yeah, I mean, it's going to be easy resistant levels just to keep in mind. I'd probably put R1. I'd probably give it a little bit of a range, maybe 15.50 to 16, kind of like a 50-cent zone there. That'd probably be my R1. And if they can maybe break and close a daily candle above 16, it'd be an easy trade to 18. And it looks like they tried to fill the gap prior, and they couldn't go all the way with it. So this is unresolved price action still. About another $3 worth of unresolved price action. But with the positive reaction to this earnings, maybe they're going to be well on their way to finally filling that gap. They're only where do they like $3.50 below the top of that gap. So they're there. They're kind of right right below where it had resistance before. So get a nice break of there. It should be an easy trade to 18. So I like it. Good data. Taj on YouTube. Let's go back to Dell. Let's look at Dell. Yeah, let's go back to Dell. They did have a nice positive reaction. They did retrace a bit more than the bulls probably would have liked. But just to recap, Dell's sales revenue came in at 23.4 billion. Matter of fact, I'll put their data back up here on my screen. So their sales came at 23.4 billion. The forecast was only 23.2 billion, so they beat there. They did miss EPS, but again, the highlights: the AI server sales over 12 billion. That equated to 52% of their revenue. The AI server sales is a big deal for Dell. Q2 guidance, they increased the guidance, the sales guidance. The estimate for the Q2 guidance was only 25 billion. They increased that to 29 billion. It's great. They also increased the EPS guidance for Q2. The fiscal year guidance kind of remained unchanged as far as the sales went. The EPS did get increased though. So overall, they raised guidance. They beat revenue. They missed EPS. But again, 52% of their revenue was a little over $12 billion for the AI server sales. So that's good. I like Dell as a company. I really do. Going into the earnings, they were sitting at PE of 15.72. Of course, we can cross-check that with their peers and competitors and see where they fall kind of on the PE range for their industry. But nice and positive at 15. EPS, nice and positive, 6.38 EPS. They do pay a dividend, according to Webull, 1.8%. Free float, around 300 million. They got, let's see, yeah, very profitable company. They kind of range from like 0.8 billion to like 1.6 billion in positive net income, so profit every quarter. I'm Just Me said, you shorted Dell at 120. Well, I hope you took profit before the earnings. Not financial advice, but I sure would have. You would have been up $7, almost $7 a share on the short side. I would have totally pocketed that before this earnings. If you were short, just my opinion, though. All right, let's take a look to. Let me show everyone how to get to the Dell call, okay? Because I think their earnings call it's probably going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern. But let me post the link because I know people want to hear that. I'm not going to stream it, but I'll show everyone how to get to it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. And I'll also post a link on how to get to all their financials. Okay, so here's the link to get to the webcast, okay, for Dell. And post that for everyone. So take a screenshot of that. That's how you're going to get to the web call. Well, once you get to that link, okay, right here is what the homepage looks like. Just scroll down, okay? You're going to scroll down, latest events, right here. And they're saying the web call with the CEO is at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so that is going to be 4:30 p.m. So their earnings call is going on right now. The link to it's on the bottom of my screen. Get in as soon as you can. I'm sure it'll be recorded and you'll get a video of it perhaps. That's how you're going to get to the Dell web call for anyone interested in going over there. So be interested to see what the upper management says about the guidance and the forecasts and stuff like that. But yeah, Path still sitting a little bit above 14 bucks. I like a long trade to 18 to fill that gap. I like it. So I forgot who asked about that. I think it was Blue Brain. Yeah, it was Blue Brain. That's my boy. But yeah, with that said, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream. We did get the reactions. Dell did have a nice and positive reaction. They did pull back to 78% retrace. They were trading sideways, and now they're back retesting that 78% retrace. That's at 116.50. So I'd like for that level to hold. And then as far as Donkey on looks like Twitch. You got Path that IPO release at 74. Where's your money at? I hear you. It's been quite the sell-off since they IPO'd. It's going to be, it might be tough getting back up there to your average. Maybe looking forward, just a suggestion. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but maybe moving forward, I'm not sure if you'll be able to do it on Path now since it's so much lower than when it IPO'd, but maybe consider selling some covered calls on your shares to maybe bring in some income while you're waiting for shares to appreciate. Just a suggestion, not financial advice, just some ways to play defense if something starts going against you. Crank out some covered calls, create some income. But yeah, with that said, let me go back here. Just a reminder about this is our second annual Traders Paradise in-person event. Okay, this is an in-person event. It's in Chicago, June 9th through the 12th. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency. I'm definitely looking forward to staying at that place. And just a little rundown for the Traders Paradise this year in Chicago. We're going to be live trading every day, so bring your laptops. You can trade right along with us. There's going to be lots of interactive workshops. There's going to be some great sessions on advanced options trading. I'm going to be spearheading that one. And great sessions on swing trading. The owner of the company, Austin, he's going to be showing everyone his advanced range trading strategy that he's been trading over the years. He's made a ton of money doing it. He's going to show everyone exactly how he does it. It's going to be AI and tech-based deep dive. So like, where's big money, institutions, things of that nature. Where are they putting their money for the remainder of the year? We're going to be going all over that. And special guest, Lou Batsanisi is going to be there. Been on Fox News, MSNBC, lots of major financial media outlets. He's going to have his own session and giving guidance on how to develop as an investor. So I'm really looking forward to picking his brain and sitting down with him, listening in on his session. We're going to also be releasing a new trading view indicator. And there's going to be some private dinners and some deep dive mentorship sessions. Those private dinners, that's where it's at. Some really high level discussion going on at those dinners. And once you get your ticket, make sure to call the Hyatt Regency right afterwards, because we did block off 50 hotel rooms. Okay, and they are discounted. So once you get your tickets, make sure to call the Hyatt Regency. There's a link in the description of the screen of the stream. It should say Traders Paradise 2025. Just click there. That'll take you on the page I was just on with all the info, how to buy the tickets. It's got the hotel information right there. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. Last year we did it in Delray Beach. So I got a chance to meet quite a few members last year. But this year it's just going to be 10 times better. So if you end up getting tickets to Traders Paradise, I definitely look forward to meeting you in Chicago. But that's all I got for today. If you're looking for the web call with the upper management on Dell, I did post the link on the bottom of my screen, so you can screenshot that. That'll get you there. But yeah, I enjoyed the stream. Appreciate everyone coming out to hang out. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. And I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers and have a good night.